You know what
Backpacking America
is, right?
It's fucking awesome.
It's Backpacking America, an analytical podcast. All right, so we're going to be talking about annoying things going on in the pandemic. I wrote a couple of things down I need to talk about to just get off my chest because now we're going on close to a year of this. So one of the things that really bothers me is stores closing at 9 o'clock. Now again, I like to preface that I obviously know the reasons behind this and the various reasons the government's doing some of this stuff. I know, don't drill me for this, but it's still annoying that stores close at 9 o'clock. I went to Walmart. I was going to go to Walmart the other day, and I'm like, oh, never mind. It's 8:30. They're going to close in half an hour. Forget it. You can't, you can't go to the store past 9 o'clock, at least in my area. All the bars have to close by 10. It's just, it's ridiculous. COVID doesn't stop at 9 o'clock. If anything, you're just going to get more people cramming in these earlier hours. And the other thing that's really annoying about the bar and restaurant thing is that they could stay open, but you can't have more than 10 people in your house. So I don't know. I was at a restaurant the other day and it was packed. Fortunately, we got a table far away from people, but there were a lot of people in there for COVID times. I really don't understand how I obviously get that we need taxable dollars, but why really at the end of the day you can't give out a loan to restaurants and just say, listen, stay closed for another 3 months till we figure this out, because that's where all the COVID cases are coming from. They're coming from bars and restaurants. So you can have 30, 40, 50 people unmasked at a bar or a restaurant, spitting and laughing and drinking and shit, and all their germs are spreading everywhere. But God forbid you have more than 10 people in your house. Oh, it's the end of the world. You're a bad American. You're spreading COVID. Blah blah blah. I think that's so hypocritical, and they only crack down on that because it's not making them money at the end of the day. And then wearing a mask. Wearing a mask has now become a political statement. I of course know Republicans that do wear the mask and take it seriously, but for the most part, you could tell someone's political stance by not wearing a mask. And most of the people that don't wear a mask are the ones that actually need to wear the mask. It's actually ridiculous. I can't tell you how many times I go into Walmart and there's this old fuck on a wheelchair or where those power scooters with no mask. He's overweight. He's 75, probably has pre-existing conditions. And I'm just we're doing this for you. If I get COVID, knock on wood, most likely I'll live. And it'll be a really shitty cold. But fucking, all these other people that could actually die or get seriously ill are saying, fuck it, we want to live our lives. And to one extent, I get it, because if you're over the hill or you're close to your deathbed, you want to get every last drop of life. But at the same time, I mean, people are living to 85, 90. You're 60, 65, 70. You still got another 10, 20 years. You don't want to I don't know, take a year out of that just to chill and then go back to it. And it's not even you can't, go and do stuff. You just have to wear a mask. I mean, what do old people do, bro? They eat and they sleep, bro. They go for walks. I mean, I haven't met an old person that goes to the bar religiously or goes out to eat every day, So just wear a mask. You're what, going to the grocery store? A mask isn't going to impact your quality of life. If anything, it's probably going to save you from getting a couple of more illnesses. And then Cuomo's giving passes to the wealthy Long Island East Enders by letting the average worker suffer the consequences. I mean, bro, he literally, there was a chain smokers event, right? And he was, very lenient with the town supervisors. And he, some of the bars and businesses out there, aren't really cracked down on, and the town wasn't really getting the support from the state to enforce social distancing protocol. So he was kind of letting them slide because he met with a bunch of wealthy people from out east to talk about how they could keep their businesses open, and circumvent some of the COVID precautions. But then, the average, working person, has to suffer through the regular restrictions, and the small business owner has to do that. So, that's pretty shitty. I think that's pretty shitty and hypocritical, really. Um, and then, it's not even like I have an issue with the COVID restrictions being placed on me, but apply it to everyone, including the wealthy, because they brought it out there too. New York City people moved out east and moved upstate, bought up all the real estate, drove the housing market up, and then brought COVID with them and decimated all the small hospitals. So, it's blood boiling to me. It's just the hypocrisy that bothers me and the privilege that bothers me. And then you got to wear a mask to enter a restaurant or a bar, but then taking it off to eat. I mean, that's so stupid to me. Like, you literally, like you can't have a party. You can't have more than 10 people in your house. You got to wear a mask in a public street. But you can take your mask off you have to wear a mask to enter a restaurant and then take it. Like, what's the point? You might as well just walk in without a mask. Because you're still spreading it. It's still spreading everywhere. I mean, I get it. You're not carrying COVID from one end of the restaurant to the other. Like, that I understand. But there's fans in some of these places. And not all of them have the MERV 13 filters. So the virus is still spreading. And then you got, the wait staff and stuff. That's so toxic to them. They could die. It should be a law that you have to put your face mask on whenever your server comes over. I mean, I guess that would at least protect them. But at the end of the day, it spreads throughout the restaurant because it's a small enclosed space. It's asinine. The small business loans, that should have been really direct payment, should be given to restaurants and bars so they could close down. And we could have beat this 6 months ago. And then, this is what really irritates me about the whole restaurant thing. People go out. If it's open, people are going to go. Be careful, be as safe as you can, but people are going to go. So, I've seen a lot of people on social media, and people I know personally, shaming people, saying, if you're going to a party tonight, you're a piece of shit. You're an asshole and not a good person if you go to a bar, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, didn't you just post a picture of yourself out on Halloween? Or, like, didn't you just post a picture of you at, like, a big family gathering on Christmas? Or didn't you just post a picture of, like, a Friday night out with the boys? Like, what? Or aren't you throwing a party? Like, all the people that talk the most shit about others doing things in the pandemic they supposedly shouldn't be doing, they're doing anyway. It's social capital. They're just doing it to make themselves feel better because they feel like shit getting shamed by the government. And speaking of the government just like shaming people, they're complaining about drug and alcohol use. But then they make liquor stores essential, and then some states have legalized weed, and Oregon decriminalized all drugs. So why are you complaining about substance abuse when you made liquor stores fucking essential? I mean, like, why are you complaining? You took away everyone's daily lives, fucked up their routine. Everyone had to stay home for months before we even opened restaurants again, just like staying in their house. And now what do you think everyone's going to do? The only thing open is the liquor store. So they're going to go to the fucking liquor store and they're going to develop a couple of new addictions. What do you think they're going to do at the dispensaries? They're going to buy pot. Like, what do you expect? You can't complain about it. That's your doing. You literally encouraged it. You had to. I mean, people were going to lose their fucking minds if they're alcoholics. But, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, you can't complain about it. You can't encourage responsible drinking when there's nothing to balance it out. People didn't have anything to really live for when the pandemic first started. Some people still don't. Certain parts of the country are still closed like it was day one. And then, the state's saying, oh, it's urgent. New York State's saying it's urgent to fight the pandemic. But then you defund hospitals. What? Like, Cuomo literally for the 2021 fiscal year, he said he cut hospital funding. Hospitals are still closing around the fucking city. Around New York City. Around the whole state even. Hospitals are underfunded. Medical staff are underfunded and short-staffed. Yet, it's such an important fight. We gotta fight the pandemic. How are you gonna do that with no hospital funding? How? That makes no sense to me. Fund the hospitals. Cut the NYPD. We already don't need that much funding for the NYPD. Now, we did cut, $3 billion from them. Now, that's enough to fund social services and hospitals. Why was that not put towards hospitals? And also, the sad part is the state's broke. New York State is broke, especially after this. That's why everyone's leaving, too. And then, the people that can't leave are fast food workers and other, supposedly essential workers. But now, it's a big deal that they want a living wage and they want to, make sure they don't starve in the middle of a pandemic. But, they can't even afford the food they eat. Or if they can eat it, that's all they can eat. And then they're developing a bunch of health issues because all they can eat is processed crap all day. If you paid them like $22.50 an hour, or no, I'm sorry, it's $25 an hour now as a living wage, it wouldn't be an issue. And people say, oh, well, if you increase the wage, the prices are going to go up. Man, in the Nordic countries, a McDonald's worker makes, I don't know, like $22 an hour, and the average price increase is like $1 for all products. I mean, that's not bad. Now, then again, it's a smaller country, and I'm the economy is more planned. We're going to need to plan the rest of the economy to make sure that a sudden wage increase doesn't, mess with everything up. But what's also messing things up is the super wealthy that own these corporations making millions or billions of dollars an hour. That's fucking the whole market up. You can't make that much money and still have a sustainable economy because most of that money is never going to circulate. And, with all this in sight, it's like so hard to keep hope. I mean, like, people are giving up hope way too early. You can still meet people and go out to bars and do what you used to do to an extent. You just have to weigh the consequences. Like, I know it sucks, but there's ways to do. You could discover new hobbies. You could meet new people. You could still go and explore things. You may not be able to go to the bar as much or, go to parties. But you could still, there's still life. Museums are open. Parks are open. You can, maybe read a book. You could, I don't know, maybe find, look at places to live, plan out what you want to do in the future. Make things happen so that you have, a reason to be excited to wake up the next morning. You can't just, like, if you give up hope now, I mean, like, this is the time where this makes or breaks people, like this time period we live in. And don't break yourself because you need to be strong. There's going to be so many challenges coming. I mean, with the political situation spiraling out of control, the virus seeming unending, this is going to be life for a while. If people, I mean, we still have running water, we still have electricity, not a lot of people do. 25% of America is houseless. A lot of us are unemployed, but we're not getting bombed every day. We're not having war crimes committed okay. But, there's people in the Middle East, in Yemen, they're going through famines. They're getting bombed every day by the United States government, which I find so weird that that's still happening in a pandemic. Just stop for a day. But then again, World War I continued with the 1918 flu, so who knows? It could be a lot worse, I'm just saying, and that for some of us it's worse than others. And for those of us that, aren't in such a terrible position or, mentally, financially, physically, it's our job to help these people if we can with what they need, because if you're mentally declining, you're gonna have a hard time doing anything else. Your brain is the most important part of your body. So just check in your family members, check in on your friends, maybe surprise them with a food or like their favorite drink from Starbucks. Just try to do something nice for people, because now is the time when people are really hurting and they need compassion and support and care from their what's the word, not tree, what is that word, not unit, their safety, their social net, their network. They need help. People need help. And I think an important thing too is to not drink all day or smoke all day Like, I know it's tempting, trust me, but just like, there's other things in life. You could still do things. Just try to be safe, try not to do everything to excess, and just really, if you can do it safely and you can do it, enough to where you're satisfied, but not enough to where you're doing it every day, going out, drinking, seeing new people, you're gonna be okay. And just wear a mask, please. Just wear a mask. It's not that hard, bro. This isn't a hoax. This isn't design. This isn't some. Trust me, if the government wanted to destroy humanity or do some weird population control or something, they wouldn't unleash a pandemic that they're desperately trying to get over. They wouldn't dump billions of dollars into a vaccine, development program that, was pushed out in less than a year. So, it's and there was something in Norway too, like 29 elderly people died taking the vaccine. I have to confirm that, but I saw it in the New York Post. That's why I'm like, I don't really know. But I saw a Chinese reporter talking about it. So I don't really know like the whole scenario, but and that was the Pfizer vaccine. But I think for the most part, like it was pre-existing conditions that led them to death. It's still something that needs to be, looked into, but you know, it's very important that we get the vaccine, regardless, because even the young people, because again, we're doing this for the old people. So like, if you're like me, or you're like, a little older than me, but you're not elderly, get the vaccine if you can. I mean, it's not gonna fuck us over, So if all of us are vaccinated, the old people are gonna be okay. So do it for grandma, do it for grandpa. Just try. Let's all try to do our duty and be as safe as possible, and especially in the next couple of days, because the political situation is about to go boom. Yeah, pretty bad. I think even some Marines were saying this is just like Afghanistan, or it reminds them of like the war, like the coups or whatever. It's definitely reminiscent. This is something the United States would bomb Venezuela over for sure. Definitely. Thanks for listening, y'all. Make sure to give BPA a follow on Instagram at Backpacking America and Twitter at BPA Podcasting. Make sure to like BPA on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. The links can be found in the podcast description. Until then, take it easy and stay breezy.